So, guys, the drama continues in the city of Tshwane after the DA's mayor, Silas Brink, was removed through the motion of no confidence. We know that the ANC, EFF, and Action SA have worked together to ensure that Silas Brink does not survive the motion of no confidence. So, as we speak, the federal chair of the DA, Helen Zille, has written a letter to the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, and the party's lead coalition negotiator, David Makura, informing them that the DA demands Silas Brink to be reinstated as the mayor of the city of Tshwane. So, in this letter, Helen Zille did not only tell the ANC that the DA demands Silas Brink to be reinstated as the mayor of the city of Tshwane, but the DA has also given the ANC an ultimatum. You can see on the article it says that DA Federal Chairperson Helen Zille has warned the ANC to bring back Silas Brink, or the party won't entertain any talks of ensuring stability in the hung metros ahead of the 2026 municipal elections. Helen Zille has also described the removal of Silas Brink as seismic event in the short life of the National Unity Government. In this letter, Helen Zille continues to address Fikile Mbalula and David Makura, and she says that the reason is that Panyaza Lesufi faction rules Gauteng. They ignore the national leadership. The other reason is that Action SA has betrayed the coalition. I am aware of the significant efforts you both made over the past 2 weeks to persuade your Gauteng colleagues to facilitate a wide-ranging stability pact involving a range of hung metros councils in the run-up to the local elections in 2026. Helen Zille continues to say that this is a tragedy not only for South Africans but for the government of national unity. The irony is that the motion has been brought against Silas Brink not because he's doing badly, but because he's doing well. So you can see that Helen Zille actually believes that the ANC in Gauteng is working against the ANC nationally. But Panyaza Lesufi, the premier of Gauteng and the chairperson of ANC in Gauteng, spoke with Clement Manyathela earlier today, and he says that no, everything that the ANC does, it has been done deliberately. Guys, you remember yesterday I made a video and I said that people must be careful to say that the ANC in Gauteng is working against the ANC nationally. Maybe everything that the ANC is doing in Gauteng, it has been done deliberately. Maybe Panyaza Lesufi is working with Cyril Ramaphosa to squeeze out the DA in Gauteng. And many people said that, no, Thomas, you are talking nonsense. There is a war that is happening between Panyaza Lesufi and Cyril Ramaphosa. So I want you guys to hear it from Panyaza Lesufi himself, telling you that he will never go against the ANC nationally, and he does not even have the desires to be the president of the country, because this is a belief that many people, this is a position that many people have actually formed, that Panyaza Lesufi is doing everything because he wants to contest President Ramaphosa. He wants to be the president of the ANC, and he also wants to be the president of the country. But Panyaza Lesufi says, no, I do not even have the desires to be the president of the ANC, nor the president of the country.
Remember, we're having a conversation at 10 o'clock with the DA Federal Executive, Helen Zille, about what happened in Tshwane last week when Silas Brink was voted out as mayor in that motion of no confidence. I saw that she's now given the ANC an ultimatum. She says the ANC must vote with the DA to bring Silas Brink back, or the DA will no longer enter into any talks to save other municipalities. But there's an issue.
And spoiler alert, the ANC is not going to vote with the DA. The ANC is doing everything in their power to make sure that the DA is squeezed out in Gauteng. So the DA might as well forget if they think that the ANC is going to vote with them to reinstate Silas Brink.
Or the DA will no longer enter into any talks to save other municipalities. But there's an issue here that's also been confusing people, where Helen Zille last week says the national ANC had actually agreed with the DA, seemingly, on protecting Zille Brink and forming some kind of local government of unity in Tshwane. But then the ANC in Gauteng says, well, that's not necessarily the case, because the impression Helen is trying to create is that the Gauteng ANC is actually ignoring the advice of the national government. So I thought we should hear from the chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, who joins us now on the line. Premier, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam. Are you well?
I'm all right.
I was on the road. Let me quickly park. So
no problem. While you park,
it's fine.
While you park, Premier, just take a listen to also what Helen Zille had indicated to me this morning as we were pre-recording that conversation, that we're going to be playing all of it at 10 o'clock. It's basically repeating what she's been saying over the last few days, including in your interaction with her on social media. You were having good discussions with the African National Congress. They were also talking to Action SA. And then on voting day, they decide to vote with Action SA. What do you understand? What was happening behind the scenes in your negotiations?
Well, we were in very good and constructive discussions with the ANC, not only about Tshwane, but about several other metros as well. And the point was to stabilize those governments. We can't have a situation where there is one motion of no confidence after another, where there is enormous instability, which is terrible for the economy. And so we have been looking at getting stabilization agreements in several metros till the election of 2026. Now, suddenly the ANC went quiet and they didn't answer calls, and then I always know there's a problem. They're not phoning back or telling us anything because they've run into an internal problem, and that internal problem was Lesufi. And Panyaza Lesufi basically wanted to go with Action SA. And what swung the ANC in the end, as I understand it, was that Lesufi argued that if the ANC went with Action SA, the ANC would get the mayor of Tshwane. And that if they went with the DA would keep Zille Brink as the mayor of Tshwane.
Mm-hmm.
So having the offer of the ANC mayor on the table, they decided to go with the ANC mayor offer on the table, and they forfeited all the other metros in the process, because we're now not going to have any of those discussions in the other metros until Brink is restored.
So that's what Helen...
So what are you telling me, that Action SA knew that the ANC has a chance of having a mayor in Tshwane? But you remember yesterday the reports actually came out that the Action SA was threatening the ANC to leave the coalition if the ANC fields one of their own. So if ANC gets their way and have their mayor in the city of Tshwane and the city collapses, I hope Action SA understands that people are going to hold them accountable as much as they are going to hold the ANC accountable. I hope that Helen Mashaba understands that if ANC have their way and they are able to get their own guy to lead the city of Tshwane, and if things go bad in the city of Tshwane, Action SA is going to be held accountable the same way ANC will be held accountable.
Zille told me we'll play that full interview after 10 o'clock. Premier Lesufi, is there a disagreement between the national ANC and the Gauteng ANC on how things should have transpired in Tshwane?
Not at all, Madam. Actually, I'm baffled by this attitude to indicate that there's a difference between us and the national leadership, and specifically my name. Just to be on record, Madam, in the last 10 days, I was not even in the country when this discussion about Tshwane was discussed. So for me to be dragged and be used as a ho-ho.
But Panyaza Lesufi, just because you were not in the country, it doesn't mean that we don't have the technology to actually communicate with each other. So you can say that you were in Europe, you can say that you were in the Middle East, but we have the technology to actually communicate with each other. So just because you were not in the country, it doesn't mean that you did not take any part in the negotiations.
In the last 10 days, I was not even in the country when this discussion about Tshwane was discussed. So for me to be dragged and be used as a ho-ho for the collapse of Tshwane or for the Councillor Brink to be recalled. It just baffles me. I was not there. I was not part of the discussion. I've never participated in discussion. Actually, contrary to popular view, I was following the deliberations that were happening in Tshwane from Germany on my social media networks. I never had a meeting with the national leadership. I never had a meeting with our provincial leadership, because when you are on leave, you leave those that need to run matters to run matters. So why my name is dragged, why I'm used as a hoho that didn't agree to this arrangement, it baffles me. But besides that point, Madimeja, which is something that the Democratic Alliance is missing. You remember the motion was tabled, I think, a month or so, Madimeja. And the leadership of the DA came to me before I left for Germany. They came to me. It was led by Solim Simang, Mayor Brink, and Mr. Nel. They requested to meet with me as the chair of the ANC so that we can postpone the motion and give them an opportunity to present a case on how they want to present an alternative on the issue of Tshwane. I met with them at a restaurant in Bedfordview, and this matter is not raised. And on the basis of them requesting to meet with me and requesting a postponement of the motion so that we can have discussions, probably they didn't tell their federal chair, Helen, Zille, because in that meeting there were constructive discussions and we postponed the motion, and that's why the motion was not carried in the last council meeting. And that was on the basis of our discussions. That was led by myself. So I would have told them that I'm not ready, I'm prepared, I don't want to discuss with them and all these things. But on the second matter, the decision for the motion to be voted in was taken by our national leadership. The National Working Committee, 2 weeks before I left for Germany, invited us as the provincial leadership and also invited us together with our regional leadership of Tshwane to say, come and present your scenarios. And we presented both scenarios.
So what Panyaza Lesufi has just confirmed is that the ANC nationally is working with the ANC in Gauteng to squeeze out the DA. I mean, you remember when the ANC sidelined the DA in Johannesburg? People were confused again because people were given this impression that the ANC in Gauteng is working against the ANC nationally. But right now, Panyaza Lesufi has just confirmed that the decisions are coming from national, and we in Gauteng, we are just listening to what the ANC nationally says, and we implement that. So it was the ANC's decision nationally to squeeze out the DA in Johannesburg. It was their idea all along to squeeze out the DA in Johannesburg. And people acted like it was only the decision of Panyaza Lesufi and his guys there in Johannesburg. But I did say that this actually sounds like the ANC nationally is working with the ANC in Gauteng. And at the same time, they are giving people the impression that they are working against each other, but they are making the ANC strong in the process. This sounds like it. It sounds like it. So the DA was squeezed out. You remember how the ANC nationally said, no, we are going to send Fikile Mbalula to make sure that Panyaza Lesufi and his people are in line. We want to govern Gauteng with the Democratic Alliance. The truth is that the ANC never wanted to share power with the DA in Gauteng. They never intended to share power with the DA in Gauteng. They never did.
We presented the scenario that involved the DA. We presented the scenario that involved Action SA. And we then said, no, leave, we'll come back to you. And I'm told the national leadership came on the day the motion has been voted to say, support the motion. And that's how the motion was supported. I was not there. I was not part of the discussion. I didn't contribute to these discussions. But I don't understand this obsession of the DA and many journalists that are just dragging my name as somebody who's rogue, somebody who's not controllable, somebody that undermines the president of the country, and somebody that has an ambition to be a president of this country. I'm still wet behind my ears, Madimeja. I have no ambition at all to lead the ANC national. I have no ambition at all to be the president. Actually, this president was supported primarily by myself. the first rally President Ramaphosa addressed to indicate that it's the running to be the president of the ANC was in Tembisa. And now I'm labeled an Alexander Mafia. The first, if you go to the last conference where President Ramaphosa was voted, who led the leadership of Gauteng into that to vote for Ramaphosa? It's myself. So this pseudo analyst that automatically drag my name to say I'm Alexander Mafia or Paul Mashatine corner, led by unfounded allegations by Helen Zille, baffles me. I really don't know why people can do this.
What's the next step? Because Helen Zille says Celia Brink is going to be put as a candidate for the DA when the new mayor is being voted in. In fact, Helen Zille says that you have a choice here as the ANC. Either you vote with the DA to bring Celia Brink back, or the DA will no longer enter into any talks to save other municipalities.
I'm glad it's explicit that those discussions are led by our General Secretary Fikile Mbalula and Makura. And we will get guidance from them. If they want the ANC to fill the candidate, the national leadership will tell us. If they want Action SA to be supported with a candidate, the national leadership will tell us. Or if they want any other person to stand as a mayor, we'll be guided by national leadership. We are one organization called the African National Congress. This obsession to try to create a division between ourselves as a province and national irritates me. And it's something that falls squarely within the Swat Khefar that was there, the Communist Party fear that was created, now the EFF fear that is created. And I've been accused that I'm very close to EFF, I'm close to MK Party, something that is far-fetched, that cannot be substantiated by evidence and cannot be supported by any discussion that I had, either with EFF or MK Party. I remain a leader of the ANC. I'm under the command of our president called Nelson.
He almost said Nelson.
I'm under the command of our president called Nelson. Ramaphosa, and I'm prepared to be guided by the national leadership of the ANC on any other part. I have no ambitions, and I have no ambitions to either don't support the national leadership on matters that affect how we relate to coalition government. Actually, it's the DA itself that has created the chaos that we're in, and they're trying to avoid that. They were running to Johannesburg without us. We're occupying opposition benches. What happened? They irritated PA, and that's how that government collapsed. They were running Ekurhuleni with EFF. What happened? They irritated EFF, and that government collapsed. They were running Tshwane without us. What happened? They irritated DA, and that municipality collapsed. The DA does not have the ability to manage relations, and the DA does not have the ability to respect those that are in coalition with. And check, after we've taken over, there is no mayor that was had a vote of no confidence, because we know how to manage relations and we know how to ensure that everything runs smoothly when you have this kind of coalition government.
So that's it from the Premier of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi. First of all, Panyaza Lesufi says that I do not have the ambitions to lead the ANC or to lead this country. Do you believe Panyaza Lesufi when he says that he does not have the ambitions to be the president of the country or the president of the ANC? Do you believe Panyaza Lesufi when he says that? I know many people will say, no man, Panyaza Lesufi is talking nonsense. We know exactly that Panyaza Lesufi is doing everything in his power to undermine Cyril Ramaphosa and to actually position himself as the next president of the African National Congress. But again, Panyaza Lesufi says that no, everything that the ANC is doing, these are the decisions that are coming from nationally. So Panyaza Lesufi again confirmed that maybe there might not be a fight between Panyaza Lesufi and Cyril Ramaphosa. Maybe everything, it has been done intentionally, giving people the impression that the ANC is working against each other while emboldening the political party. Guys, I don't know, man. Please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba, so I will see you next time. Bye-bye.